Good Friday morning, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Friday. Starting off, what is going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Well, it is actually pretty dry outside, but we do have a couple of little showers kind of getting going over there near areas like in Orangeburg over here. You can see just in southern Orangeburg County, northern Dorchester County, towards the I-26, I-95 exchange. We do have some rainfall kind of moving in throughout this area, but other than that, that's the only area where we see some rainfall. Now, what about for cloud cover? We see a bunch of cloud cover right now from the upstate all the way down towards the coastal areas. That was expected. Not everybody's completely covered, but a lot of places are overcast right now. And if we're going to take a look at our cloud cover for the future, you're going to push this forward into this morning right here going into this afternoon, and cloud cover remains with us even as we get to around 4 o'clock p.m. today. Cloud cover activity still stays with us even as we get into the overnight hours here. Here's 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, still staying cloudy. Current temperatures right now, we're talking about 76 in Somerville, as well as 78 in Charleston, 78 Beaufort, as well as 79 in Hilton Head Island, 77 Myrtle Beach, Conway, Georgetown, 76 in Orangeburg and Columbia, Hartsville, Florence, 73 Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, as well as 74 in York and Rock Hill. Now, what about for our air quality? Well, we actually look pretty good for air quality for today. Most of us are inside that good category, but if you're over there near Spartanburg, down near the I-26, I-385 exchange, as well as over there in eastern Charleston and Berkeley County, you have a moderate risk of air quality. Not bad, but not too great either. So if you are in those areas and you're outside for a long period of time, please make sure that you're paying attention to that air quality just to make sure it doesn't get too bad. High temperatures for today, we're talking about 88 in Greenville, 87 in Spartanburg, as well as 88 in Columbia, 87 in Orangeburg, as well as 87 in Walterboro, Moncks Corner, Charleston, 86 Georgetown, and 84 in Myrtle Beach. Now, what about for our heat index values? Well, as we move over into today for heat index values, we may not even get to, like 101, 102. We may get to around like 100 or so, but there's a good chance that we may not get to those, to that 105-degree value. We may get to around 102, 103 at the most. But that's it. And it's going to continue to be mostly in the 90s for heat index values for us over here. Winds for today are going to be extremely calm. I mean, like, you're barely even going to feel it, especially at its calmest points. Like, it's not going to be moving at all. Wind gust, maybe up to around 10 to 15 miles per hour. But again, that's it. Rainfall for the next 24 hours, we're talking about maybe a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch in areas like Columbia, maybe even a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch in areas like Spartanburg, going over in Cheraw to Dillon, Sumter, quarter of an inch to a half an inch in areas like Florence, going over into Kingstree, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, Moncks Corner, maybe even up there in Greenville and Spartanburg, half an inch to an inch possible for Charleston, Walterboro, Hilton Head Island, and somebody could even see an inch to 2 inches of rainfall for today without flash flooding occurring over there, especially in the western low country. Crazy score for today, we're at a 7. Nice and calm right now, pleasant conditions, no significant weather threats across the state right now as we speak. We do have a risk of severe weather for today. Isolated severe storms are possible with damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour being possible up there. Upstate, Midlands, Petey, going over into the central Midlands and like the central Petey as like a ending point. While everybody else under there is under just a risk of regular to maybe even strong thunderstorms in the light green. So could still see some gusty winds and some hail in the light green. Doesn't mean that you're completely out of it. Excessive rainfall wise, we do have a risk of excessive rainfall. If you're in the yellow, right part of the state, you have a 15% risk of flash flooding, a 15% risk of flash flooding. If you're in the green, you have a 5% risk of flash flooding. So scattered flash flooding possible in the yellow, isolated flash flooding possible in the green. So please make sure that you're aware of that. If you're in a flood prone area, make sure you're watching for that. If you're in a area that gets a flash flood warning later, know what you're going to do there. And just be ready overall for anything, because everybody in the state has a chance of flash flooding for today. So let's go on now and take a look at the models. Times at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure you pay attention to that. We're going to start off here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Just as we push this forward in general, you can see let me zoom that out. You can see not too much really going on until you hit around 10 to 11, maybe even 12 o'clock p.m. We start to see some showers starting to form in the low country, the southern Midlands a little bit, but not bad. Not really that bad. Once we get to around 2 o'clock p.m., though, showers and storms really start to seem possible over in areas of like the low country, in areas of the Midlands and the Grand Strand areas now. We continue our way through. Here's 4 o'clock p.m. Now look at the upstate. Upstate getting some action by around 3 to 4 p.m. Getting some showers, some storms getting going. Now, once we get to around 6 p.m., all the way to around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. or so, showers and storms are still going on. Low country still going on in the upstate, Midlands, PD. And then by the time we get to around 12 o'clock in the morning, things start to calm down a lot. But you can see a lot of shower and storm activity. And a lot of those storms that happen in the upstate that could potentially be severe seems to be going on during the afternoon and the evening. So watch for that up there. Everybody else, watch for those showers and storms, especially also in the Midlands as well, where there's also that risk of severe weather. So, how much rainfall could we potentially receive today if we do include flash flooding? Well, it seems like a good amount of areas could see maybe up to around 4 inches of rainfall. Some areas could see up to close to 5 inches as well in some spots, especially in the low country. Some other spots may not receive any rainfall over the next 18 hours. So, do not be shocked if you don't see any rainfall over the next 18 hours here or so. But a couple of isolated spots in the upstate get up to an inch. I see some getting up to around 2 inches or so. So let's go in now and take a look at the NHC map. Dolly is still here. It is a 40-mile-per-hour storm, still expected to move its way west as heavy rains from Dolly or its remnants could affect the Leeward Islands into Saturday, late Saturday into Sunday, with possible impacts in the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Hispaniola Sunday and Monday. This heavy rain may produce flash flooding, especially in areas of higher terrain of the Leeward Islands. So that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the tropics. I mean, Dolly's still going to get going, and it's still going to impact areas of the Leeward Islands. But as you can see, they have downgraded it to a depression. So I guess they are getting a bit less confident that this really will do anything storm-wise, tropical storm-wise, to these areas in the Northern Islands. So we'll see what happens. But we still do see that there is risk of a tropical storm as we move all the way through into 2 p.m. on Saturday. Once we hit Sunday, though, things start to kind of calm down. And that's all that I have to say here in terms of the tropics. So if you have not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go ahead and do so. We're at 828 subscribers, trying to get to that main goal of 900 by the end of September, and then 1,000 by the end of the year. Make sure that you're there for that. I will be back tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. for your Friday evening forecast update, and then tomorrow morning for your Saturday morning forecast update. Hit those two buttons before you leave if you're new.